You gotta grasp that in casinos, the house always has the upper hand. The notion that you can consistently win at gambling is a bit of a myth. Now, don't get me wrong, it's entirely possible to walk away from the craps table with more cash than you started with. But it's vital to realize that craps, like every other game in the casino, has a house edge built right into it. This means the payout structure is mathematically skewed to ensure the casino makes a profit over time. Essentially, if you play long enough, despite the ups and downs, you'll end up losing money to the casino. So, never, under any circumstances, should you play craps with money that you can't afford to lose. Always think about the absolute worst-case scenario before you roll those dice. Let's talk about those downtown tables. In the glittering gambling capital of Las Vegas, the casinos on the iconic Strip are famous for their flashy appeal, whereas the joints downtown, with a bit more worn charm, offer slightly better odds to draw in patrons. When we're discussing craps, the terms downtown table and strip table don't necessarily pinpoint the physical location, but rather allude to the payout systems used. If you can swing it, try to snag a spot at a table running the downtown payout system for a modest yet meaningful edge. The nuances between downtown and strip tables can be quite subtle but impactful. For example, on a downtown table, a $3 place bet on a 6 or 8 nets you $3.50, whereas a strip table, cutting it close, rounds down and pays just $3. Also, proposition baits on 2, 3, 11, and 12 carry marginally improved payouts on downtown tables, 30-1 for 2 and 12 and 15-1 for 3 and 11, compared to strip tables 29-1 and 14-1, respectively. Seek out games where experienced dice setters are playing. Dice setting is a curious technique aimed at rolling the dice in such a way as to influence the outcome, albeit to a slight degree. There's some controversy among gambling aficionados regarding its actual effectiveness. The consensus seems to be that if dice setting offers any edge, it's extremely subtle and only noticeable after countless rolls. Nonetheless, if you can find a table with a dice setter, tagging along with their baits can't really hurt your odds. If you decide to give this strategy a whirl, align your baits with the dice setters on low-risk wagers. So, if they're placing pass baits, you should follow suit with pass baits. If they're betting don't pass, do the same, and keep this approach for come baits as well. Generally speaking, you want to stick to these low-risk baits. Steer clear of following the dice setter on high-risk baits. No level of dice control is likely to overcome the long odds associated with these riskier wagers. If it's legal where you are, consider seeking out craps games outside of casinos. Street craps, the more casual, off-the-cuff version of the game, can be set up just about anywhere with a couple of dice and players ready to bet. The big perk of street craps is that there's no house edge or baits aren't subject to the casino's cut. Instead, players wager against each other, covering each other's baits. Additionally, because street craps isn't played on a formal table, the betting system tends to be more straightforward and flexible. Depending on the game, you might even get to invent your prop baits and decide payouts on the spot. This improvisational nature means that, with a bit of savvy, street craps could potentially be more profitable than its casino counterpart. However, it's crucial to be aware that gambling outside of a licensed venue can often be illegal. Always check your local laws before joining or setting up a street craps game to ensure you're not running afoul of any regulations.